This is the 2024 Hyundai Santa Cruz XRT. Can this rugged-looking compact pickup conquer our off-road course? We're checking out all the features and then putting it to the test, right now on Driving Sports TV. Many car makers have special badging for off-road focused trims. Subaru has Wilderness, Toyota has TRD, Honda has Trail Sport, and Hyundai has XRT. If you've been to the Hyundai website, you've probably noticed XRT trimmed vehicles tearing up forest trails, climbing mountains, and splashing through puddles. They even feature the tagline, "Venturing Beyond Boundaries." Sounds pretty epic. But what you don't see on XRT trims is more ground clearance, all-terrain tires, or pretty much anything you would expect on an off-road ready package. So the natural conclusion is that the underlying vehicle is good enough to do all of these things without all of those extras. And that is exactly what we're going to find out today as we put this vehicle to the test right here at our Peninsula Proving Grounds. But first, let's check out the vehicle that Hyundai sent us for testing. This is a 2024 Hyundai Santa Cruz XRT. As you see it here, you're looking at $41,945 US including destination. You will note there are no extras here. This is exactly as the XRT comes from the factory. It includes extra cladding around the wheels and doors, bed rails, side steps, and blacked out badging all around. Even these 18-inch alloy wheels wrapped in all-season tires are standard. Under the hood is a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, producing up to 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. Hyundai's H-Track all-wheel drive is standard at this trim level. The only transmission is an automatic 8-speed wet dual clutch with paddle shifters. We have had overheating issues with this powertrain combo in the past, so we're certainly going to keep an eye on it today. EPA rates economy at 19 miles to the gallon in the city and 27 on the highway. Maximum payload is 1,411 pounds, but do note that that does include the driver and passengers as well. Towing is capped at 5,000 pounds if you option a receiver, which we do not have on our test truck. Even though this is a pickup, it is unapologetically styled more like a crossover. But it does still have a little bed. In the back is a bed that measures 52.1 inches in length, or 132 centimeters. In width, you're looking at 53.9 inches, or 136 centimeters when measured over the wheel wells. This trim also includes an integrated tonneau cover. It actually looks pretty useful. You can fit a 4x8 sheet of plywood back here, you just need to keep the gate down, of course. Under the floor, we get additional storage. Now, it's not as deep as the bin that you see in the Honda Ridgeline, but that is also a larger unibody pickup. The Ford Maverick doesn't have that at all. This XRT trim also comes with these handy tie-down rails, and then you also get sliders that are adjustable down here. Oops, let's get that back in. And then you also, of course, get plenty of tie-downs. This bin hides the electrical. AC power right there. Even though the bed is small, it's actually loaded with some great features. The XRT trim does come with side steps for some reason. Hyundai says that the Santa Cruz has 8.6 inches of ground clearance. However, I can't help but notice these side steps hang really low. So let's see what they do. Measuring right here. Yeah, we're looking at about 7 3/4. Check out the second row. Okay, it's a little snug. I'm 6'1", legs torso proportionate. I do fit. However, this seating surface is very flat and firm, not really to my liking. I do get a cup holder on the door, which is nice. And do I get a fold down armrest? No. Vents? No. Seat warmers? No. For 40 grand, you don't get a lot back here. However, I think it's a little bit better up front. Oh, This is nice. Powered on. I get a digital gauge cluster up here, which is the standard Hyundai fare at this trim level. We also get, of course, a nice touchscreen display over here as well. And the one thing I like about this layout is that the screen is low enough that it's not going to hamper my view up above. We saw a similar layout with the new Lexus GX recently, where they've stopped putting it way up here, so it's blocking your view as you're looking out. So that's a nice touch. And then below it, I do get semi-real buttons, but they are flush mount, so I don't know. The little membrane buttons aren't my favorite. We get a nice, easy to use transmission controller. Down below that, we get several drive modes: normal, sport, smart, and snow. I also get a couple off-roady features here. I have hill descent control and then center lock. Now the center lock on Hyundais means that you're telling the computer to lock up that center multi-plate clutch. Now if it overheats, it will release, or if it just feels like it would be better to release, it will just release. So it's not the same thing as a lockable differential. I just need to make that clear. There's also a button down here for the camera system. It is a backup camera at this trim level. I don't know why I keep expecting to see more premium features in the XRT. Probably because it's priced one down from the Limited, but I kind of expected to see a surround view at this trim level. It's not here. Just like in the back, no vents. It's just kind of surprising, but I do get the digital gauge cluster, so there's that. The steering wheel is wrapped and it feels nice. I get paddle shifters to control that 8-speed wet clutch automatic transmission, and then the seats also are fairly comfortable. They're a little firm. I think that other vehicles in this class have started to be better, and I hate to bring it up, but our long-term Subaru Crosstrek has really nice seats now, and that thing costs less than this. So Hyundai, if you want to fix something in here, maybe make some more comfortable seats, not just for the front, but also for the second row. Now we do get a sunroof here. It's your standard sunroof size. Yeah, overall, it's kind of what you expect. Oh, I get seat warmers. That's nice. Here we get a bin. Up here we get lots of piano black that will scratch like mad. We have maps in here, which a lot of manufacturers are leaving off, basically relying on people to use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay for mapping, but here it's actually built into the vehicle, which is a nice touch. And then of course we can also do XM satellite radio plus terrestrial radio, and you can integrate multiple devices, but it does not support wireless. It does require a USB-A style connector into the vehicle, so you're going to be hardwired. And does this have a charging pad? Yes, this does have a wireless charging pad though. So even though you can't connect wirelessly, you can at least charge wirelessly. So I guess it's got that going for it. I expected surround view. I expected something a little bit more back here, but it does have blind spot warning, collision mitigation, and it even has adaptive cruise control. So I guess it has most of the fundamentals that you want at this price point. Okay, well, let's go ahead, take it for a drive on the street, and then we're going to bring it back here to put this XRT trim to the test on our off-road course.
Right after filming this review, Hyundai announced changes to the upcoming 2025 Santa Cruz XRT, which is due to go on sale in summer of 2024. With it, we get a lot more off-road hardware, including front recovery hooks, surround camera, and all-terrain tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels. The inside also gets updated with a new curved display, more buttons, and wireless Apple CarPlay. As for the powertrain, that is unchanged. Of course, we will bring you a full review of the new Santa Cruz later this year. But given all of the changes in this XRT trim, I would say wait if you were considering the 2024 edition.
Back when the new Santa Cruz first came out, I did a full review on this vehicle, and it was actually equipped in a very similar fashion. Turbocharged 2.5 liter under the hood and the H-Track all-wheel drive system. And when I first drove it, I actually rather liked it. It is a very useful little trucklet. However, I did own a Maverick, and I think if you're looking for truck utility, the Maverick is the better option, mostly because it actually operates more like a truck. Also, the bed is slightly larger, just enough to make it a little bit more practical. Now granted, yeah, you can put sheets of plywood in the back, but they are going to have to sit on top of the wheel wells. And of course, you're going to have the gate down, and then you're going to have these long pieces of plywood that have to be tied down hanging out the back. So it's not exactly ideal. Also, a couple years have passed since I last reviewed this, and you know, Hyundai's design language continues to evolve, and this is already looking a little bit dated. This is the older design language, but I don't think it's too bad. I like this display. I like how low it is. I like the fact that they give me actual push buttons, although they're not actually buttons, they're flush mount, but you know, membrane buttons to deal with the aircon, and even quick links to jump into the sections of the infotainment system. And their gauge cluster is super easy to read and looks nice. One thing I don't love about this car though is the ride. It is very firm. And the bigger wheel you get, so if you go up to like a limited with the bigger wheels, like going with 19s or even 20s, definitely don't want that on this vehicle, in my opinion. This one has 18-inch wheels, which I think are better, but it still rides firm. In terms of power, yeah, the 2.5 liter really delivers, and the clutch is very fast to engage. If I want to use the paddles, I can quickly switch between gears, which is nice. However, I just don't love the way this thing drives. A lot of it comes down to the steering feel. It's very light and very vague. Now I can stiffen it up if I go into my drive mode Sport, which changes the gauge cluster a little bit here. Now it's a little bit more weighty, but it's still kind of a vague feel. And that's something that I get in a lot of Hyundais that I drive. I just don't feel like their steering is their sweet spot. Also, interior, a little bit on the cheap side, especially considering this is over 40 grand. I just feel like this vehicle is already being left in the dust by even some of the newer Hyundai designs. And then talking about design, let's talk about this XRT treatment. What the heck were they thinking with those side steps? You do not need functional side steps on a vehicle that's only 8 inches off the ground. You just don't. Even my wife, who's 5'4", she gets out and she's like, now all I have to do is step further out of the vehicle, because even I don't need these steps. Yeah, so they're kind of ridiculous. It's almost like somebody at Hyundai said, what do we need? What does a truck have? And then just decided to put it on this. Not really thinking of the fact that whether or not you actually needed that feature. The side steps, totally ridiculous. I don't think they even look particularly good, because you look at it even on this thing, you're like, why would you put side steps on a crossover? That doesn't make any sense. So if you're looking for a vehicle that's on the small side, has a very punchy powertrain and all-wheel drive, obviously the Santa Cruz delivers in all of those respects. And as an added bonus, if you want to go to the nursery, you can easily pick up some soil and throw it in the back, and you don't have to smell like dirt. That's also a nice thing. However, I think that if you're leaning towards a truck and you want this for the truck utility, I think the Maverick just delivers a better package for that truck utility. And also with all-wheel drive and the turbocharged engine that you can option in that pickup, I think that is just a better buy. However, some people don't want that. They don't want it to look like a truck. They want it to drive and look like a crossover that coincidentally has a bed. So this is your option. Would I get this or the Maverick? Well, I bought the Maverick a couple years ago and I really enjoyed it. I drove the heck out of that truck. And then I sold it for my Ranger, which I'm currently driving and will eventually trade in for a Ranger Raptor, which as of this filming, I think is being built or has been built and is sitting over in Michigan waiting to be shipped. So I'm stoked about that. So this XRT trim of the Santa Cruz is the most off-roady version you can buy, but that's not saying a lot. It doesn't have all-terrain tires, it doesn't have a skid plate, it doesn't have extra ground clearance. In fact, it has less ground clearance because of those side steps. Ridiculous. But that said, it's still an all-wheel drive turbocharged truck, so yeah, we're gonna take this off-road. So now it's time to see if this little truck can live up to its looks. We're gonna test it on Peninsula Proving Grounds. First test we're going to do is to see how well power gets shifted to the back. This is a transverse motor and it does use a multi-plate clutch in the middle, so most of the power is to the front wheels. It'll then send power to the back when it engages that middle clutch. And I'm going to go ahead and lock the middle clutch, which is a suggestion to the computer. I'm also going to turn off traction control, and I'm going to put us in sport mode. That should be the most extreme setup for sending power to the back. And I'm just going to basically mosh the throttle. 3, 2, 1, go. Woohoo! Oh boy. Yeah, this has no problem shifting power. That felt quick. So right here, I am going to turn it off of sport mode. I'm going to switch the drive mode to, let's do smart. That is actually what Hyundai says we should use in conditions like this. I know a lot of viewers are saying, hey, you should use snow mode, but snow mode also reduces power on tip-in of throttle, which I don't mind a more, a slower pedal to engage, but I don't want to cut power because we're going to be lifting the vehicle in sections. So I want maximum power from the get-go, although a slower crawl ratio would be nice, but this is an 8-speed wet clutch transmission. You're not going to vary the crawl mode. First gear is what first gear is. Let's not start with the center clutch locked. We're just going to start with nothing really special turned on, and we're in smart mode with the drive modes. And right here, we're going to try to lift our vehicle up. Going to remove traction off the driver's side front and the passenger rear. And we're going to spin, and we're going to see if we get some spinning on that back passenger side tire. This is where it has trouble. I can hear power shifting to the back, so it's already pushing power to the back. Let's go ahead and lock it now and see if there's any difference on the outside. Come on, you gonna do it? Oh, it cut power. Wow. Engine off, shift to neutral, and then start engine. Didn't like that. I think that was probably a transmission protection algorithm kicking in. We're still in smart mode and we're still in center lock. So let's try to do this with a little more gusto. Use momentum to get up. Right like that. Okay, I'm a little disappointed that it wasn't able to just shift its power around and lift us up. This vehicle has plenty of power, but it didn't like that at all. So momentum up. On we go. So I'm still keeping the middle clutch locked. I'm gonna dip a wheel in here. Gonna lift that rear wheel up a little bit. Oh yeah, get a little tilty. Actually, that feels really tilty in this vehicle. Different wheelbases hit different, you know? Wow, okay, then can we get up? Come on. This is where I don't really want to carry too much momentum because I'm very close to trees here. And I want to keep just a slow, progressive movement through the forest. Okay, carrying on, we're now going to dip the right wheel down on this tilt. Hopefully we don't scrape those side steps. They hang so low, I kind of fear we might. Lift up, now we gotta climb out of here, let that power shift left to right. It's using wheel braking to clamp down the wheel that has no grip, and it's pushing us forward. Okay, very good. So it does a much better job when it's not deadlifting the whole vehicle up, and it's a slighter incline. So it does okay in those situations, but it escalates very quickly for this vehicle. And then as we go out, the thing I'm going to be listening for are these side steps dragging on the left side. As I go down, yep, there they're dragging. Ooh, but scooping up some dirt there. Yikes. Just as I expected, they do cause problems. But will the side steps make it impossible to get over the logs? Let's find out. To go over the logs, I have to be really careful about putting too much throttle on. So what I'm actually going to do here is switch into snow mode, which will reduce the amount of throttle that I get on tip-in. It should also modify the all-wheel drive system for slippery conditions. Let's see what it does. Gonna feel our way. Now, I would love to have a front camera here, but this does not include it at this price point. Feel for the logs. So using the force. Up and over. Oh wow, this throttle is so much slower to move in snow mode. I guess it's actually a good thing. Gives me a little more feel. Okay, there we go. Oh! Yeah. Oh! Yeah, I hit the log there. Okay, so these side steps, they are a major problem. I have taken so many vehicles through this without this being any kind of a problem. But the Santa Cruz, with these side steps, it's bumping into everything. On the plus side, the steps are very sturdy. Let's get through this. Up and over. Yeah, very slow. Hopefully no more dragging. Okay, there we go. Up and over the log. This one's diagonal. I gotta say, in snow mode, this throttle is very slow, which is good. It's exactly what you want. Okay, one more feature. Not done yet. We have a sand trap. See, I was rooting around over here and I realized this is all sand. So I opened it up a little bit so it's gonna be loose on the exit, which is definitely gonna test that all-wheel drive system as well. Ooh, we're getting really close to that tree. Let's not hit the tree. I'm still in snow mode. Tilt down here, we're gonna go into the sand. It's gonna test clearances, we might rub a little bit, but now we need to claw our way out of the sand to get out. So I'm full throttle in snow mode. Oh, that is soft. So that is the 2024 Hyundai Santa Cruz. It's a fine little truck if you need to make runs to the nursery, move some furniture, that kind of stuff. However, if you're going to take this off-road at all, be aware that it finds its limits very quickly. I would say this is a pavement-only vehicle in spite of the ruggedized looks that they give it in this XRT package. Instead, I would definitely gravitate towards the FX4 Ford Maverick, or go up to a midsize and you have lots of options. Of course, this drives like a nice little crossover. It's super easy to drive. It looks good, it's interesting. I would probably just skip the XRT package though and go all the way up to the Limited, so you get heated and cooled seats and some other niceties. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share videos. We make them for you. Hope you enjoy them.